Coming into this race, I bet some fans were thinking, maybe we should actually get rid of Auto Club and tear it up and turn it into a short track. But leaving this race, I think some fans should reconsider, and I think Auto Club is doing the same thing as well. We have a lot to talk about from the 2022 Wise Power 400. Why couldn't they just call it the Auto Club 400? Seriously, man. Hey guys, NASCAR Mobile for you back again. Welcome back to another episode of NRR. And in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the 2022 Wise Power 400 from the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. And to be honest, this was probably one of the best Auto Club races that I can remember. Apart from, actually before this race, I thought that the 2020 race was good because 2019 Kyle Busch dominated. 2018, him and Truex dominated. 2017, I don't know. All I can remember is that Keselowski wrecked, somehow finished second, and Larson won. And then 2016, I didn't really watch that much of it, but I know Johnson won in the Superman car. But anyway, before we go ahead and begin, we're basically going to be talking about our top 10 finishers, going to rate the race, we're going to talk about the biggest story of the race, the biggest incident that happened. We're also going to be talking about some drivers that had a good race and a bad race, and rounded up from there. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive on into this video. Finishing first was Kyle Larson. What a day for Kyle Larson, the 5 team. They had to start from the rear of the field because of unapproved adjustments before the race even started, and then Larson just took it away from that point because he was the biggest mover of the race once the green flag was dropped, and he was just moving it up through the field, and he was eventually able to knock his way into the top 10, the top 5, challenging for the lead. He was doing a really good job for the rest of the race, and basically at the end of the race, Larson threw a bad block on his teammate Chase Elliott, put him into the wall. Elliott was not happy with him, so I'm still not sure what if those two have talked or said anything. I guess I have to find out later today. But yeah, that was a big incident right there. But Larson was able to get the win. That's his second win at Auto Club. So now he's the second among active drivers to have two or more wins at Auto Club. He joins Kyle Busch, and then also his 17th career win, and he's also the first driver to win in the next gen Chevy in the Cup Series. So that's really impressive as well for Kyle Larson. So the defending series champ just taking it off as usual, is just basically trying to recap from what happened last year. So win number 1 of the season for Kyle Larson, the 5 team. He had a really good race. He started like 31st, even though he qualified 13th. So a good come from behind victory for Kyle Larson, the 5 team. Finishing second was Austin Dillon. I didn't really expect Austin Dillon to get a really good finish like this because he was running pretty decent in the top 20. He was pretty consistent. He jumped up in the top 10 here and there, but able to get up to the top 5 and get a nice runner-up finish at the end of the race is really impressive for him because his teammate Tyler Reddick was having such a good day, but then a tire went down on the 8 car, just unfortunate. It took out William Byron as well. Byron just, I don't know, it just happened abruptly, and Byron just hit the wall, so that's 2 straight DNS for the 24. But Austin Dillon had a good race. He started 16th in the race and was able to get a nice top 5 finish. So overall, a really good day for Austin Dillon. The 3 team just so close of getting their first win of the season. It could happen later this season. Finishing third was Erik Jones. Guys, I'm telling you, like I said at the beginning of the season, that the number 1 driver that I think is going to do so well and improve with this new next-gen car is Erik Jones, and it is that Jones bull. He had such a good race. Erik Jones probably had his best race in the 43 car since he's been with the team since last year. Jones had a really good race, even though Jones he did technically start second, only fell back a position. A lot of people thought of him to fall back in the field just like Austin Cindric did, but no, Erik Jones was just a consistent driver. He led a lot of laps. I think he led over 40, and he was just basically in the top 5, top 10 all day. He was really running for it. I actually thought he had a chance with about 40 laps to go to win it, but you just can't beat the Hendrick guys, really, and he had some other guys running really well, like Joey Logano and stuff. So a really good race overall for Erik Jones, a very strong run for the 43 team, so hopefully we can see this momentum continuing going into Vegas next week. Finishing at 4th was Daniel Schwarz. Now, this week's heartbreaker goes to Daniel Schwarz. Daniel Schwarz just so close of winning his first career race in the Cup Series. Just could not get it done. Larson just interrupted it. He took the lead away from Schwarz, and Schwarz was only able to settle for a top 5, 4th place finish. Schwarz had a really good day. I thought he started 15th. He was running in the top 10 pretty early. Then he kind of fell back abroad. Was running like in the top 20, top 25. So he was having a pretty quiet day, but then he was able to come back and erupt in the late portion of the race and was able to get a nice solid top 5 finish. So not terrible for Schwarz, but knowing for Schwarz, he's been in the Cup Series since 2017, since Carl Edwards has retired, and has just been looking for that first career win, just could not get it. So overall, a really good day for Daniel Schwarz in the 99 team, but I just got to watch out. Anything can happen, so I would not be shocked if Schwarz just comes out the gate next week at Vegas and gets a win, but we'll just have to wait and see. And rounding out the top 5 and 5th is Joey Logano. Joey Logano also had a really strong day. After that incident he's had at Daytona, not only in Speed Weeks, but the actual race, Logano was able to get a nice solid 7th place starting position, finish 5th in the race. So Logano had a really good day, in my opinions. He had some things going on for him here and there, but he was probably... I'd say he was the best forward out here. He was definitely competitive, running up here with the Chevys and a couple of Toyotas here and there. So Logano had a really good day. Just was not enough for him to get the win, because he kind of had a race-winning car, to be honest. He kind of did have a race-winning car, but he mostly had probably a 2nd, 3rd place car, a top 5 car, and he did get a top 5 finish. So good effort from Joey Logano, but we'll see what he can do headed to Viva Las Vegas, where he's won there a couple times. Finishing 6th was Erik Amarola, and my goodness, guys, my boy, Erik Amarola, after a crazy weekend he's had, able to get a 6th place finish, a top 10. Basically, for Erik Amarola, he spun out in his qualifying session, qualifying for this race, and had to start 31st. I think they had to start from the rear for some unapproved adjustments, I'm not really sure, but goes from 31st to 6th, and during that he was really moving his way up the field, but he was kind of moving up pretty slowly and stuff. He wasn't really gaining that much, but eventually he was able to hit the top 10, top 5, and then he spun out during the race. He saved it, went to pit road twice, and somehow, some way, gets a 6th place finish. Really good effort from Erik Amarola. Gets a top 5 in his final Daytona 500 and able to get a really good 6th place finish after all the bad luck and chaos they've had throughout this weekend. So Amarola is having some shining moments in the early part of the season, which is very different from how we saw his 2021 season start. So really good momentum for Erik Amarola. Let's see how he does at Vegas, because he crashed there last year. Can he actually get a really good finish? Finishing in 7th was Kevin Harvick, and another eventful weekend for another driver. Kevin Harvick, he had issues as well. He was the first driver to wreck or crash out in practice, and then they said that he'd had to go to a backup car, and Stenhouse Racing only brought one backup car for anyone to use, and Harvick was going to use that. It was in Cole Custer's hauler, but then eventually they said that they were able to fix the damage to his original car that he crashed in practice, and he wasn't able to qualify. He had to start from the rear as well, and he made his way through the field just like Amarola pretty slowly and stuff. He started 32nd and was able to get a 7th place finish. So good effort from Kevin Harvick. I did not really expect him to suck at the beginning of the race, because at the beginning of the race he was running 26, and then at the end of it gets a nice solid 7th place top 10 finish. So really good comeback, bounce back for the 4 team, basically for Stenhouse Racing with a couple of their drivers. So good effort by Kevin Harvick in the 4 team. Finishing in 8th is Kurt Busch, and Kurt Busch just has had so much bad luck this season when it comes to the Clash, Speed Weeks, the Daytona 500, and this week. I believe Kurt Busch, I think he also had to start from the rear. Yeah, that's right, because Kurt Busch, I remember it said he failed qualifying inspection 3 times. 3 times before they even practiced. And so that meant that he had to start from the rear. He could not qualify, and once the race started, he had to go into the pits for a pass-through penalty, and he can join back in the race. So what an eventful start for Kurt Busch. He started 36, able to get an 8th place finish, because he was starting to make his way up through the field pretty decently, kind of slowly as well, like the other 2 cars, his former teammates. And then I believe he had a penalty, I'm not sure, or he just lost a lot of spots. Oh, yeah, no, actually, yeah, he did have a penalty on pit road, lost a lot of spots, but somehow, someway, quietly shows up to get a nice solid 8th place finish. So what a good effort by the 45 team at Kurt Busch. Finally something going their way, but still not really a good start because you cannot have those things happen before you even go out for practice. So hopefully they don't fail inspection 3 times like they did next week at Vegas. Finishing in 9th was Daniel Hamrick. I don't know what's going on with Daniel Hamrick. The Daytona 500, he qualifies really well, and then the race he kind of does poorly, and then we come to Auto Club. He qualifies very well. I believe Hamrick qualified in the top 10. He qualified 5th. Yeah, that's right. He started 5th in the race, and then after that, he just disappeared. He just fell back through the field. I don't know what was going on. Like, they have really good qualifying speed. Just colleague racing in general, really good qualifying speed. They just cannot hold it up to, like, stay in the top 10 or even top 20 for a lot. But then Hamrick was able to make his way back through the field as the race continued and dwindled down, and was able to get a nice solid 9th place finish. So overall, not really a terrible week for Daniel Hamrick. This is like his first top 10 in the Cup Series in a while. Actually, looking back at it, Hamrick started 33rd in the Daytona 500. I know he qualified well, probably had like to start from the rear or something, but still got a 12th place finish last week, and then started 5th and finishes 9th, so not terrible for him. And also, this is Daniel Hamrick's first top 10 in the Cup Series since the 2019 second Pocono race, so that's actually really good for Daniel Hamrick, first top 10 in almost 3 years, so really good effort by the 16 team. And finally, rounding out the top 10 in 10th was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was having a really good race, like pretty early in it. He started 17th, ended up getting a top 10. So basically, in the beginning part of the race, he was running really well, like in the top 5, top 10. And then he was kind of fading back into like the top 15, top 20. And then just a few incidents happened here and there. He was able to claw his way back to a top 10 finish. So overall, a really decent day for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in this 47 team after having that crushing, heartbreaking blow in the Daytona 500 last week, able to get their first top 10 of the season in the new next-gen car, so I think Brad Daugherty should be happy about that. And now let's rate this race. This was a really good race in my opinion. Probably the best Auto Club race since the one that we had in 2020 in Jimmy Johnson's final season. This race had a lot. There were a lot of incidents and stuff, and we'll get to that in a minute about biggest incidents and stuff. And then there are also a lot of goofs. There were, with the next gen car, there were a lot of spins that we saw in practice, and there was just a lot of everything. A lot of passes, a lot of good racing overall. Now I see why some people are saying that Auto Club should stay as it is and not actually be turned into a short track, because the project of turning it into a short track was announced, I believe, after the Auto Club race in 2020, but then COVID happened, and apparently that put that thing on hold, so we're not even sure if we're going to have that, because I heard that there's a possibility of them running the 2-mile configuration next season. So I just have to wait and see. But overall, I love this race. It was a really good one. So if I had to rate this race, I'll give it a... For Auto Club, I'll give it I'll give it a nice 8.7 out of 10. It was a really good race in my opinion. Probably the best one I've seen in a while. It wasn't the best and stuff because it's Auto Club. Of course, they stranded out a bit. But there was still a lot of good racing throughout the day. Really throughout the weekend. The Xfinity race was pretty good until we had that, freaking red flag with Brandon Jones in the Sandbros with like 2 to go. And that took it overtime. But overall, good weekend overall. So we'll see how the racing will be at Vegas next week. So let me know in the comment section below, what would you rate this race? Mine was an 8.7. Okay, I don't have a next-gen car, but this is technically next-gen. It's Jackson Storm, okay? He's cool. Not really. He's a jerk. Anyway, talking about the next-gen car, it had some more goofs, some more hiccups. So basically, it was just the tires and stuff. Because basically, you had some tires going flat when a few drivers spun out in the race, and then they just couldn't move. They couldn't get out of the grass, and all their tires went flat. So I'm not really sure what that's about. And then if you're having that incident during practice and qualifying, what are you going to do for the race and stuff? So I know Bell, they said he technically went 4 laps down because it took them a while to get him out of the grass since all of his tires were flat and stuff, but they didn't count that. So NASCAR, I guess that's a really good thing and stuff. But he had a lot of drivers spin out and stuff. Yeah, Chase Elliott, he spun out early in the race after he hit the wall. Kyle Busch spun out. Bilicki spun out. I'm trying to think of some other drivers. Christopher Bell, Buscher, he blew a tire on entry into the corner. And then some other drivers spun out. Reddick had a flat tire. And then Chastain spun out and stuff. So basically, there are a lot of spin outs and stuff, a lot of hiccups and goofs that we saw with the next gen car. So hopefully, there's some more adjustments that we'll see. This is a big learning curve for these new teams and stuff for how this next gen car is going to be. So we'll just have to wait and see how it progresses through the rest of the season, because this is only race 2. It's only race 2, so you can't really hate on them a lot, even though they've been working on this car for like 2-3 years. So I'm gonna cut out that last part. And the last big incident I want to talk about from this race was the Chase Elliott Kyle Larson incident. So basically, with a few laps to go, Logano and Larson were battling for the lead. Chase Elliott was coming up, trying to take it 3 wide, and then Larson just dashed to the outside and put Chase Elliott into the wall. Chase Elliott was not happy with him, had a few choice words for his teammate that I cannot say on camera, unfortunately. I wish I could, but damn, I can't say it. Anyway, and then Larson just said on the radio that he couldn't see him. And then I don't even remember Larson even mentioning anything or even apologizing to Chase Elliott during his interview after he won the race. So that's not really a good sign and stuff. So Chase Elliott, I know it was a racing deal and stuff, but Chase Elliott has every right to be angry and stuff, because that's just some bull in my opinion. So Larson definitely messed up right there, just wasn't paying attention and stuff. And hey, he kind of did the same thing that Justin Haley back at the Busch Clash. Heck, Justin Haley even wrecked at the ending of this race. So wow, that's weird. Wow, that's crazy. So yeah, so hopefully this doesn't cause any tension, but there's going to be a pretty awkward, tense moment meeting at Hendrick Motorsports tomorrow. So we'll just have to wait and see and stuff, because Byron wrecked out. Bowman, he ran up into the wall, cut a tire down, lost a couple laps, which broke my heart because he was having a really good race. And then Elliott has his issues, and then Larson wins the race. So yeah, there's going to be a tense moment when it comes to HMS for their next meeting on Monday. So I might want to stay out of that one. So that was probably the biggest incident of this race. So here are the 2 drivers that I actually thought had a good race. First up, Cole Custer gets a nice solid 11th place finish, and he won this race. He actually won here yesterday in the Xfinity race in the 07 car for SS Greenlight Racing. So also congratulations to that team getting a win for their Xfinity Series program. But Cole Custer had a really nice run. He was running in the top 10 pretty well. Was running I think his highest was probably 6th or 7th and stuff. And then overall gets 11th place finish for Cole Custer standards, knowing how he's not that good. He's actually had a pretty good race here in Auto Club, so this is definitely one of his better tracks. So we'll see how he does for the rest of the season. And then for Kyle Busch, I'll say he's neutral, but I'll mostly say that he's on the good side, because this man had so many issues today when it comes to him. He had a bad qualifying run. He spun out early in this race, and he had an issue on pit road, and then he had a tire down, more problems for him. And then overall, at the end of the day, he comes back from 4 laps down to finish 14th on the lead lap. That's very impressive. So props up to Kyle Busch and the 18 team for not giving up. They go from being 4 laps down in 34th to being on a lead lap in 14th, which I think is a really good improvement. So congratulations to them. So here are some drivers that I thought had a bad race. First up with Denny Hamlin up top. He was running really well in the top 10. He should have finished in the top 10, but somehow gets a 15th place finish, so not a finish that he deserves. Blaney, I don't know what happened to Ryan Blaney. He was running really well in the top 10, probably the second best Ford out there to his teammate Joey Logano, and somehow he gets, 18th? I don't know what happened there. Bowman, such a good run, running in the top 15, top 10, top 5. And then, unfortunately, got into the wall. He was running up in the wall so good, but the time that it cost him, it's at the end of the race. And so Bowman finishes in 25th, 2 laps down. Chase Elliott finished 26th. He spun out early in the race. He was able to make a comeback and stuff. He had that issue with Larson. That put him in the wall. He lost all his spots, and eventually he spun out and gets 26. Byron having such a good race. Reddick cuts a tire. He gets into Tyler Reddick And bam, there goes Byron's race. He finishes 34th. And speaking of Tyler Reddick, he had that tire issue. Able to continue the race, but only get a 24th place finish after a lot of people thought that he would be getting his first career win at the end of the day. But still, a good track for both these guys and stuff. They just gotta wait till next year. Possibly, if we're even on this configuration next year. Now, with these last few drivers who had a bad race, Chris Buescher had that incident, spun out, tire went down on entry, took some big damage. I thought he would be able to continue, but did not finish his P35. Christopher Bell also had issues. He finishes dead last. Not only did he have that, all 4 of his tires go down at that one point, but then later in the race, he had an engine issue, so that ended his day. Harrison Burton, 2 weeks in a row, just cannot catch a break. He had that flip at Daytona last week and then got caught up in a wreck that happened between Keselowski and Bubba Wallace and just got caught up and gets 33rd. Brad Keselowski spun out, 3 times this weekend in qualifying and then twice in the race. Keselowski finishes 27th. And then Michael McDowell, I just wanted to point out, I didn't really see him throughout the race, but that's because he finished 31st because he had an electrical issue. And finally, Ross Chastain, who had that big crash in practice and was running so well, like he was starting to make his way back up through the field, running in the top 10 with his teammate Daniel Schwarz, then spun out, finishes 29th after that. So that does suck and it's a huge bummer to the one team. And that will do it for today's video. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. If you guys want to check out my gaming channel, NASCAR Gaming 48, link will be down in the description below. Should be uploading some good NASCAR gaming content pretty soon. If you want to check out my Instagram, link will also be in the description. And please subscribe to this channel. Really appreciate those that have subscribed over the years. It does mean a lot to me. I love continuing to make these good NASCAR content for you guys. But overall, that's going to do it for today's video. Really good race at Auto Club. Had some goofs here and there with the next gen car, some teammates going at it, and with just some spins, chills, thrills, whatever you could say. So we'll see how it goes at Las Vegas. Heck, I'm gonna be heading out to Las Vegas in 2 weeks, not next week, 2 weeks. So that makes me upset, but doesn't matter. I'll be at COTA pretty soon, so don't worry about that. So that'll do it for today. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your night. This is NASCAR Mobile 48. Peace out.